Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the topic of my presentation is Pathology of the Bollywood Stars. So, these are the slides that are created by a very good student. His name is Vishnu Ravi, and this is also given by Dr. Barone, a very legend professor for pathology. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover pathology of a different Bollywood stars, what happened in their life. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so let's start it. So the first persons which I'm going to cover is Amitabh Bachchan. Amitabh, as everybody knows, that it is the one of the most famous Bollywood actors of all time in India, and he's also known as a Big B. He has made more than 200 movies. He got a hepatitis C in 1982 because what happened is that when he was shooting for a movie Coolie, he got in an accident, and during an accident he need a blood transfusion. And during blood transfusion, there was one of the patient who had hepatitis C. He was transferred to his blood. But luckily, Amitabh never ever developed the cirrhosis of the liver. I'm sorry, I mean, he developed the cirrhosis of the liver, but he never drank alcohol. So usually, liver cirrhosis is only to those people who have drunk alcohol in their life. But Amitabh never drank alcohol in his life. However, because he had a hepatitis C, that lead him to the liver cirrhosis. He also received 60 bottles of the blood from roughly 200 volunteers in 2002. So one of the volunteer was from Australia, and he has an Australian antigen hepatitis. So it is a very, very interesting that, today we still see him in a good condition because of the new cure for hepatitis C, and also the new cure for all the hepatitis. Another interesting fact about Amitabh is that he also got a surgery for diverticulitis. So diverticulitis is what happened is it's kind of a appendicitis on your left side. Um, they did a surgery in 2005 and remove a part of uh, his large intestine. Lisa Ray, she made a very famous movie called Water. She was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in 2009, and she got a bone marrow transplant where she was a cancer free. So this is also a very deadly cancer, multiple myeloma. But luckily, she got a bone marrow transplant and she is cured. Sonam Kapoor has a diabetes, insulin resistance types 2. So this is also very common. Nobody knows that Sonam Kapoor could have. Uh, she is a she is also a star and the daughter of Anil Kapoor, and she is a diabetic patient. Shami Kapoor, he was a prominent actor in the late 50s and 80s. I mean, late 50s and 60s. He was suffered from COPD and vascular disease. Due to his vascular condition, his two toes was also removed. Meena Kumari, I mean, she was before my age, before even I was born, but I have heard from many people, or even she is also very famous, a very prominent actress in the Hindi cinema. She made over 90 movies, very classic. Um, she started her acting at the age of 7. She was also being called as playing a role and also being called as tragedy queen. And one of her best role in the movie was Sahib Bibi or Ghulam, where she played a role of a woman of alcoholic. So what happened in this role is that this role becomes very famous because it was actually originally showing that how about her life. So how she was in her original life. That was what was the uh, that was about. She also started drinking heavily in 1972. She died liver cirrhosis. So as I mentioned, Amitabh never ever drink, but he still got a liver cirrhosis, which was due to hepatitis C. But Meena Kumari, because she was very alcoholic, she got liver cirrhosis and died in 1972. Madhubala, another very iconic actress in Bollywood cinema. She was also a very prominent actress in 50s and 60s. Her movies are also considered classic today. She was discovered to have a VSD, which is a septal defect between right ventricle to the left ventricle, so blood can move from right to left. VSD. She was because how they find it out, she was never diagnosed when she was a kid, but she was coughing of blood in 1950 during the show. So that's where they discovered it was never corrected. But at that time, there was no cure, there was no surgery for VSD. So she died in the age of at the age of 36 in 1969. Nargis Dutt, which is the mother of Sanjay Dutt, the superstar Sanjay Dutt. She passed away with pancreatic carcinoma, very deadly carcinoma in 1981. Amresh Puri, one of the greatest villains of the Indian cinema, most remembered for his role as Mangambo in Mr. India. He was also in Hollywood, Indiana Jones, as his role was in Indiana Jones in the Temple of the Doom. His picture is on the left side. He was died with a hemorrhage stroke in 2005. Nazia Hassan, she was a Pakistani singer, very famous song, Aap Jaisa Koi, Meri Zindagi Mein, something like that. But she was a very, very famous singer in 80s and 90s. She was diagnosed with lung cancer and she passed away in 2000. Hrithik Roshan has one extra thumb, so he has two thumbs. Uh, Anurag Basu is he was a director of the hit movie called Gangster and Life in Metro, Murder, and new 2010 movie Kites. He was diagnosed with acute myelogenous leukemia in 2004, and he was taken to the hospital. After the treatment, he still come back to the to his shooting and completed. Barbara Murray was diagnosed with uterine cancer, and she made a movie with Lisa Ray, who had also one of the cancer which I mentioned a little before. They made a documentary. Raj Kapoor was suffered with asthma. Saif Ali Khan, during a show, or in a Kuala Lumpur in 2009, he was doing a shooting. He got abdominal pain, and they have to do appendectomy after severe abdominal pain. He was hospitalized for the chest pain, and then after when he was shooting for the show for a Stardust Award show, and then he said that he will quit smoking after being discharged. Bobby Chawla is so Juhi Chawla's brother, the CEO of Red Chillies Entertainment. He was suffered in a massive stroke in 2010. The famous movie Gajni, the Amir Khan character Gajni had anterior grade amnesia where he forgot the things in the future. So everything in the previous in his life he remembered, but he cannot remember uh, the memory. His memory was gone. Like the new memory, he cannot make a new memory, but he could remember the old one. In the Black movie, Amitabh, the character of Amitabh Bachchan, suffers from Alzheimer's disease. Dextrocardia. Dextrocardia is the conditions where a patient or the person, instead of having a heart on the left side, his heart could be on the right side. So a very famous movie, A Luck. In this movie, this actor, he had a dextrocardia. So in the movie, he gets shot in the heart, but survives because his heart is on the right side. So he gets shot on the left side, but he was survived because his heart was on the right side due to dextrocardia. In the movie Wo Lamhe and Kartik Calling Kartik, in these two movies, the character has was diagnosed with the schizophrenia, which is a psychiatric condition.